Guys, welcome in, welcome in, welcome in. We have the Anvil Paladin here. Now, I must correct something that I said in a previous video that CIG is probably not going to be making multi-crew ships in the future that will not have, pilot-controlled weapons. That statement was wrong. I've since learned that they've corrected that and said that if the remote turrets are not manned by gunners, then the pilot can control these size for turrets along with the missiles. I don't know if that's just marketing talking, or I don't know if that's true, but either way, I would treat it as speculation. Like, I wouldn't get my hopes up too high. Like, if I was gonna say like I want to get this ship and things like that, I would say that I would expect to not be able to control the weapons, and I would just make peace with that, because we do know that CIG tends to change change their minds about a lot of things as it comes to ships and how they operate and what they're supposed to do during concept. So, and I actually want to go back to the CitizenCon thing and check and see if I see this ship in their CitizenCon video, because if it's in there, then that means the ship will likely be out in the next 12 months, probably somewhere around this time. And again, that's speculation. I'll have to go back and look. But I do want to go ahead and compare this to another Anvil ship, and that is the Valkyrie. Now, the Valkyrie is a very, very good ship. I like the Valkyrie a lot. I just feel like it's a little bit, undergunned for what it is. You know what I mean? And we see there's a lot of similar design language between the Valkyrie and this, and I'm very actually kind of happy to see that the design language is different enough to where you can say like, hey, this is kind of like its own thing. One of the things I don't like about the ship is how it has like the wings here on the side. I wish these were like up here on the top, because this doesn't really make sense with control surfaces coming into the game in the future. You would want this to be like up here somewhere, and you would want to have some type of vertical stabilizer if you're going to be flying this thing in Atmo. But then again, it's the rule of cool. I'm just not the biggest fan of that part of the design of the ship. It looks very, very odd. Again, I would much rather see those on top, but again, it's concept. It could change, but I doubt it. But I did want to compare these ships because they are very, very close in size. I think the Paladin's a little bit bigger, right? This one is in the 50s. This one is what, 46, and this one is 53. Right, so we're like, was that 8 meters longer? So it's a little bit bigger ship. It's a little bit wider. And I do wish it wasn't quite as wide. But then again, it is what it is. This is designed to be kind of like a liveaboard ship, so it is going to be a little bit bigger. But that's not the real reason why I'm making this video. I did want to compare it to the Valkyrie because I did want to see what it looked like compared to another ship that has a very, very similar design language. I mean that's pretty close. That's pretty close, and who knows, in the future we could get a variant. I do see space for that, because they could easily design another variant to this and have like a cargo variant of the Paladin. I could easily see that with this area right here just being closed off and having cargo, and maybe not having a gun on top or something like that. They could change it in a lot of ways, or they can have a cargo or a tractor beam that goes all the way back, and you can load cargo with a tractor beam, or they could even make a variant of the Paladin that could tow other ships. There's many things that they can do in making different variants, but I do see the opportunity to do that and have different types of Paladins, right? But I do think that with this ship having its turret that can swing down to the bottom, this is going to be another good ship that can fight the Valkyrie pretty easily. And I'm probably going to make a video on ships that are going to do that very, very well. And so be on the lookout for that one. And, you know, we'll get that one cracking as soon as we can. But the real reason why I think that this ship is out and why another ship got changed, we're going to be talking about the Redeemer. Now, the Redeemer is about the same length as the Paladin. The Paladin's much, much wider. You can see the Redeemer can basically fit perfectly inside of the whole of the Paladin. So it does have a little bit better profile. But I mean, in terms of like combat, it's not really going to matter because in a fight, you know, the Redeemer's still big. You know, it's not like it's not a fight. It's not like a fighter, like a Hornet or anything like that. It's a gunboat, much like this ship is designed to be. And I really wish this didn't get nerfed, because if what CIG says is true and they keep their word about these 4x4 weapons being able to be controlled by the pilot, then there was no reason to nerf this, to make it have 4x4s. You know what I mean? You know, and it's not like the pilot can control these anyway, you know? So there was just no reason to do that. If anything, what they should have done, they should have brought it more in a line and got rid of this rear turret and, you know, put more guns up here in the front to have more forward-facing firepower, because I'm going to tell you something about Star Citizen. Forward-facing firepower matters the most. You know, how many weapons can you put on a single target? That is what matters. That's why the F8 has 8 guns. You know what I mean? You can put a lot of weapons on target. You can do the most DPS. That's better in a fight. So I still think that, you know, the Redeemer could be in a place. Both of these ships could exist in the same space and still be competitive with each other. And we don't have to, like, you know, oh no, now the Redeemer sucks, now I need to upgrade to the Paladin. And I feel like it really shouldn't be that way. I feel like it should be kind of in a way to where, you know, we can have and we can live with both ships. And, you know, I don't like it. I don't like what they did. It's very, very grimy what they did. But that being said, I do think the Paladin will be a very good choice, as I said. And there's another ship that also got nerfed alongside of the Redeemer, and that would be the Drake Corsair. Now, they said they nerfed this ship because it was responsible for, you know, like 40% of kills. And that is not the fault of the people choosing the Corsair. That is just a game design flaw. When you slow combat down so much, when you you know, when you have ERTs and you don't, and you use mostly cargo ships and ERTs, you want to choose the ship that has cargo and that can kill them the quickest. And that just happened to be the Corsair. It just fit all those boxes. Now, if they would change the way they do bounties to where there's only like one cargo ship and everything else is fighters, then you need a little bit more of a mix. And maybe if the fighters didn't fly on rails and they weren't so easy to hit and they didn't fly like complete brain dead idiots, you know, that could potentially be different. Like, I was doing the phase 3 mission today for Save Stanton, and there's Argo Moles, you know, there's starter ships, there's Reliant Tanas, and I'm just thinking to myself, like, in that mission, there should be nothing but fighters. There should be nothing but F7s, F8s, Gladiuses, arrows, things like that. Even though, like, in, you know, PvE, none of those ships really pose a threat to me. But still, it should at least make sense. Like, the other ships of the ERT are actually protecting the other ship. That should how it should be. And, you know, you would never bring a bunch of cargo ships to protect another cargo ship. You would bring fighters. That's, you know, that's kind of the way that it should be. But I've been ranting about that long enough. Let's get back to talking about these ships right here and how they compare. This aside, right, this is not really in the conversation. This was just mostly here just for size comparison purposes. But I do think between these 3 ships, I still think the Corsair would probably be the better choice, just because it has cargo. You know, You can, you can loot, you can do things like that. You can put a vehicle in the back, you can put an Ursa, and you can have a mobile spawn point. And that's something you really can't do with these ships. Now, even though both of these ships are kind of like liveaboard drop ship type of ships, you don't have kind of the cargo space, right? Now, could they make cargo variant to this? I think they could do that very easily, right? And I probably would expect to see that at some point in the future, right? But for right now, this is all we got. But I do think that the Paladin has a place. I think, the Redeemer has a place, even though it's severely undergunned. I would love to see it get its guns back. Give it its size 5s back. They're not even going to be controlled by the pilot anyway. If you're saying these are going to be controlled by the pilot, and then you nerf this ship anyway, that just doesn't make sense. Because if you would have came out and said that, hey, the Paladin's going to have 4/4 pilot controlled weapons if you don't have any, any gunners, people would have naturally gravitated from this to this anyway. You didn't need to nerf it. You know what I mean? So I just think that it was dumb by them. It was a dumb decision by, by their vehicle team. And yeah, that's kind of how I feel about it. But I'm not saying any of this stuff to dissuade anyone from getting the Paladin. I'm even thinking about, the Paladin myself, just because I don't know when the Zeus Mark II MR is going to come out. But I would probably wait me personally, closer until when I know, like, I see it like in the progress tracker, like, hey, this ship's being committed, for this patch. Then I'll probably go ahead and, make the switch from the Zeus. We could bring the Zeus on the screen, because the Zeus is also in alignment, kind of how I feel about, some of these ships. Because I've been saying this for a while, even last year, when I made my ships for Pyro list, I was saying, like, these medium-sized ships are going to be, in my opinion, some of the best ships for Pyro, just due to the crew requirements and the engineering requirements. Even though we're not getting engineering right now, but these are the types of ships that you would probably want to take into Pyro, or just use in general, just because of their utility and their function. Like, I do want to see multi-crew ships do well in the verse. It's just, there's just an issue with fighters being able to engage these ships from very long distances. If they have to come in close, right, then I think it would be a lot better for these multi-crew ships to be able to survive and, have a chance in the fight. But that's currently not the case. And that's not a skill thing. That's not a player thing. That's a game design thing. And it's no one's fault that, a Hornet can shoot a ship from, almost 2 kilometers away. That's, that's not your fault as a player. So I'm not trying to, harp or, beat down the players. I'm just letting everybody know that it's a game design. It's not anything that we've done. It's what they've done. And, but I do think, in any case that, either one of these ships could be pretty good. I'm a really big fan of the Valkyrie. I don't own one, but I do like it. I just think that she's a little bit, undergunned, and I know she's a drop ship, but even doing drop ship things, I still think that she's a little bit weak, so, and I know armor and things are not like that in the game yet, but still they can artificially do armor with HP buffs. Like, let's not pretend like they just can't type in a number and just give it more HP. So until the armor comes out, then they can reduce the HP and, then you can apply the armor to it. Like, it's not that big a deal. It's not like they have to go in and redesign the ship or add more layers to it. They can it's just numbers, right? At the end of the day, it's still a game. These are high fidelity ships, but it's still a game. There's another ship too that I feel like is, the OG, and that is the Connie Andromeda. Again, it's right there in that range, that medium between 40 and 60 meters. It's right in there. And the Connie is an OG. It has a 4/5 guns that are controlled by the pilot, and I'm still surprised that it has that. I'm surprised that this thing hasn't been brought down to 4/4s. But for now, it has 4/5s, and it has cargo space. You can put You can put an Ursa in that, and you know, you can get yourself a Connie Taurus, which, you know, has even more cargo space, and you can, you know, you can have your Ursa and put a little cargo in the back. So there's all kinds of options for players when this new Pyro patch comes out. And maybe if you guys want to see a ship list for Pyro, again, maybe I'll do that if you guys comment enough down below. But all in all, I just wanted to make this comparison video so you guys can actually see the Paladin compared to ships of a similar size, not a role, because all these ships have very different roles. I'm comparing sizes. Pause. I'm just comparing the ship sizes with each other. And I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. Let me know what you think about the Paladin. Let me know if you picked one up, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.